Greetings, disc golf fans, as we return to the feature card, round 1, back 9 of the Birdie Open. This is Gatekeeper Media's presentation. I'm Andrew Fish, joined by Nick Hanson.
Hey, how we doing today, folks?
Got some great sponsors of the Birdie Open. This is sort of formerly the Delaware Disc Golf Challenge, but a new title sponsor this year as local retailer and disc manufacturer Birdie has taken over the naming rights. Really appreciate what they're doing for the sport as well as events in this region. The feature card in the front had Matt Bell out in front at 5 down, Nick Hanson and Mike Carman tied at 3 down, and Dylan Horst battling back to get a -1. They are thoroughly in the mix. This is a live look in as they make the turn. Michael Johansson with a 6 down, a bunch more under par. What are you feeling as we go into the back nine, Nick?
I really feel that you just need to stay within your zones and kind of play your game plan. And, that's a really good example of what you have to do on here at hole 10. It's 615 feet. It's a par 4. It's very tight the entire way. It plays up into the left. For most people, I would say they're throwing either a putter or some kind of like chopped sidearm off the tee. And I'm trying to throw an understable sidearm so that way it pushes as far left as possible.
Yeah, that's definitely the more aggressive play. If you can get it to glide out right, you're way up there, though.
And you can see it kind of just hit and dropped, so thankful for that.
Matt Bell likes his aggressive plays. He tries to follow you, but just too high, kind of skies out to the right.
Yeah, he's going to be in a tough spot over there off the tee. Basically going to have to pitch out.
Wow, Dylan really popped that. Almost looks like it's turning into a roller. Kind of caught in between a thrower.
Just circling our cameraman.
And Mike making it 4 for 4 on the forehand off the tee.
I really think for the right-hand player, it's the best shot. Do you agree?
I'm not necessarily a forehand guy, so it's not my choice. I've always just gone a mid-range, which doesn't often put me in position to take a birdie without an incredible second shot. I think with the clearing that they've done on this fairway and some others, it does reward that aggressive play a little bit more to where if you do leak off late with that faster disc, it doesn't punish you nearly as badly.
I'm going to get up there about circle 2 left side. I threw it just a little too high on the release there. Otherwise, I feel like it would have had a better shot at getting close to the basket.
Mm-hmm. Mike has to finesse a disc through a little bit of a gap. He's going to push over to the right side. And that's about as good as he could expect from there, I think. Dylan looks like he's lining up a mid, just trying to go straight and flat. And that's respectable.
Yeah, he'll be able to easily pitch up and down for par, but definitely not what he's looking for after a drive like that.
No. And Matt cut down a little early. And again, unable to approach the basket cleanly. This is a par 4, certainly one of the harder par 4s on the course. And it's not more than about 60 feet shorter than a previous position that was called a par 5. I think they made that choice because it was getting eagled a little bit too much and because it just wasn't separating scores well as a 5.
So on day 1, hole 10 played at .56 over par, and it was the second hardest hole in the course.
Yeah, I believe it. It's hard to birdie, and as this card is showing you, there's a fair number of ways to get in trouble. Was that a clean look?
I didn't have the best look out of there, if I remember right. Almost like an Annie standstill I had to throw, which doesn't suit my putting game well. But happy to be that close just even for a look on this hole.
Yeah, right. I think anything circle 2 is pretty much a win. Matt gets in for 6. It's kind of a shame. Mike and Dylan going to card their pars along with you. I guess, the card average, 4.5. That's spot on with the rest of the field.
And we're going to move on to hole 11. 600-foot par 4. These holes do not get any easier as we go along. This is going to be a very long downhill tunnel shot. It kind of opens up here. For me, I'm trying to throw one that flips up, pushes a little bit right, but then still fades out at the end.
Yeah, there's one initial prescribed gap. And then on the second half of the hole, there's a few more options to work with. Looks like you've executed your game plan just about perfectly, huh?
Yep.
That is so far, Nick.
Yeah, it's pretty nuts.
We showed you a replay of your drive on hole 6. Let's see your shot on 11. Hyzer release, good drift. Penetrates past the second wall. You been there before?
No. Definitely didn't get that far in practice. It's those Millennium drivers, I'm telling you. Scorpius and the Falcon.
You just glide?
Yep, they go for days.
Dylan lines up a backhand. Looks like that was leaking left early for him. I've played quite a bit with Mike. I really like how technically proficient he is with his fairway drivers. He's good about committing to an angle, basically showing it on his practice strokes, and then committing to it on the drive. Wow.
Some of the kicks you can see out here are just so incredible to me because you hit a tree so close to the basket or you hit it right off the tee, but then you get kicked so far that you're like, how did he even get that far?
Yeah, so sometimes it's difficult to find your disc because the reference points all begin to look the same.
That is a great spot to land for Matt. He's going to be happy with that.
Yeah, I think that he's probably doing about the same thing you're trying to. His is just the left fade that's a little more like traditionally desired. Dylan with the big scramble forehand.
Yeah, tough to say where that one landed exactly.
And Mike's angle to get all the way to the basket is probably a little bit cut off. This is, again, a little bit of a thrower. He'll be on the left side. A little bit of a jungle to navigate all the way up, though.
So when you say thrower, are you meaning it's okay if it turns into a roller, but you're throwing it, or can you explain that one to me?
I think the parlance here is it's halfway between a throw and a roller, so it's doing neither very well.
But if it does one great, you're like, that's what I meant to do.
You might be able to lie to your card, but anytime I throw a thrower, it was a miss one direction or the other.
All right, good to know.
Little softy approach here for you. Is this? Tell me about this disc.
This is a Polecat. It's actually the one I won Worlds with.
You won Worlds.
I won the 2022 Polecat World Championship.
That's excellent.
This year in San Francisco. I didn't show you how well I throw them there, but as we said, these upshots are very, very hard. And I think I've actually made them look a little harder today, but
I particularly like that, and as we see an excellent little scramble there, I particularly like that Iron Hill doesn't let you take anything for granted. As soon as you stop focusing, it's going to punish you.
I can tell you that firsthand. I threw that drive so far, and I remember thinking, I was like, wow, I'm so far up here. I just got to pitch up shot to get a birdie.
I've talked about this with Wysocki a little bit. Sometimes those perfect drives are almost harder to work with than the ones that are a little bit off, huh?
Yeah, because you get up there and you're like, uh-oh, what am I supposed to do? Even though at like any distance, you should be able to pull the disc out and throw it right there. But like sometimes you're like, oh, I've never practiced this distance before. And you get in your own head.
Or you say like, man, I could do this with any disc in my bag. Boy, there's suddenly 24 options for you, right?
Yeah, exactly.
All right. You're going to get your par. It stings a little bit, but at least you didn't go the wrong direction.
Yeah, that one hurts, but as we've said, par doesn't hurt here.
Matt Bell gets his bird, and very nice after his drive. And Mike for par. Very nice after his drive. I think, talking about par being good, you have to just accept when you did a good thing after a bad drive.
Yeah. I would agree with that. We're on hole 12. It's 520 feet. It's a par 4. It's basically a 90-degree turn once you get to the end of the first fairway, to then come to this, which is going to slope down to the right the entire way. And it's a very rocky green, so the approaches can easily get up and roll away.
Definitely. I think this is the hardest to stick on the course.
For me, this is my hardest hole on the course.
What about it?
Everything. Like, here's a good example. It's like, I need to throw the perfect, any pushing shot that doesn't actually turn. It's just turning because of the spin that's on it that then fades out.
Yeah, there's kind of multiple philosophies here. You can either throw a straight mid-range and then throw the same distance shot on your second. You can try to be aggressive and get your way around the corner and make the second shot closer. Dylan's going to lean on his strength here. Throws the forehand. I think this is a zone. And
Ooh,
yeah, that's
that was
tough.
A tough kick. I think all the routes are hard.
It's true. It's true.
My original play was trying to throw the hyzer flip to get to the end of the gap like Mike's doing here.
Mm-hmm.
And that is nice.
Yeah, textbook.
But as you saw there, I tried to throw that hyzer flip, but I late release, so I'm throwing a hyzer basically straight into the woods now that has no chance.
Right. And as early as the first 3 of you hit, that kind of takes birdie out of the equation. You really need to make some forward progress on this second.
Yeah, I feel like you got to do that to even get par. So I got pushed to that left. I'm on this path between the hole and the last green, and I'm basically just throwing up a prayer.
Yeah, find an open space in the sky and heave ho.
Yeah, exactly, and then go from there.
Dylan's looking. He's short right of the corner. If he hits a line, he might be able to get a birdie, but hitting a line is just... He's got 13 bad gaps to work with. Mike squared up with the true fairway. I like the forehand play here. It's going to match the shape and the angle inside the circle. Excellently done.
Yeah, if I could do that, that'd be awesome.
Forced into another standstill. And a little bit of a friendly bounce, but probably a circle 2 downhill putt. Dylan threads the entire left side of the fairway with his berg.
Probably about circle's edge deep.
Yep, par save attempt. And Matt with a half throw to park the ball for his par attempt. Honorable bid. Did you have any thoughts of laying that up because it was, so aggressively downhill?
Yeah, I thought about it, and my thought process was if I lay up and it hits something, I have a very high probability of it standing.
Uh-huh.
And if it's going to do that, I might as well run it because I could make it, which then I'm saving a stroke, or it could hit and sit, or it could roll just like it's going to.
Sure.
Potentially.
Like, the worst feeling in the world would be the conservative layup that also punishes you.
Yeah.
I understand it.
So that was my logic for this one. My logic early in the week was not jump putting because of the rocks on the ground and worrying about my footing and then not finishing. So there's a lot of mental game plan that goes into a course like this.
Yeah. Had you been to Iron Hill before?
This is my first week here, so not a ton of practice rounds on it, but enough where I felt comfortable playing, I would say.
Yeah. How many rounds does it take you to optimize? You can tell us after you talk about 13.
Yeah, we'll go through 13 quick. So 360 feet, it's downhill the entire way, where you really need something to fade early or late, so that way you push long enough in the fairway and then hopefully you get inside the circle.
Mm-hmm. This is definitely a tough gap to hit, and then a very rocky green again. So you're at a new course. You know it's technical. You know you've heard quite a bit about it. Like, what's your process for figuring out how you're going to attack it that week?
First off, great shot, Mike Carman. Second, about 5 rounds I want to play.
Okay.
And I try to play a player A, player B round, so that way I see multiple lines, multiple approaches during each practice round I play.
Mm-hmm.
So then if I do that the entire time, I'm getting about actually 10 rounds of playing before the event starts.
Holy cow. That's a lot, but that's what you need on a place like this where you're going to end up in weird spots.
Well, so let's say I got all those 5 rounds in and I played all of them as player A, player B.
Mm-hmm.
There's multiple times through the tournament I wasn't even in the spot that I was during practice in some of the worst positions.
Right.
So we're going to get an early release from me there. I'm going to end up quite a bit left. And there, for instance, that right there is a new place. Like, I had never early released it that bad on this hole.
Yeah, that left side is pretty jaily. Dylan, oh no. So that is kind of a defining tree on the hole. If you go just right of it, the way that Matt did, you're following the true fairway. It's parkable. If you go just left of it, it's a little sneaky, but it can also work. Did you go grenade there or Spike Heiser?
Spike Heiser.
Okay.
There. I just had one gap, and I felt like as the week went on, you were going to get that, like, this is the gap that I need to hit now after you look through, all options once you're off the fairway.
Sure.
Most of the time, there wasn't multiple options for you.
Mm-hmm. Are you a rangefinder guy, or do you just kind of find your landmarks as you play practice rounds?
I'm a big rangefinder guy, honestly.
Ooh.
There's the jump putt I talked about not doing, and then I do it.
Sometimes you need the oomph, though.
Yeah.
Like that was a good 55-footer.
I do like rangefinding because I like to know my discs. But in the woods, you almost have to be a field player because the range might seem a lot longer, a lot shorter, depending on what's, in your depth or in your field.
Yeah. Or you'll have to throw an oddball angle around an obstacle.
Yeah.
We see Mike get a very nice birdie, continues his clean sheet.
The other thing is just like speeds in the woods because, a driver is going to get to that tree that you're trying to go in front of a lot faster than, say, at mid-range.
Mm-hmm.
So you always have to take that into effect or into account as well, I feel like.
Oh, buddy.
Grumbling on this hole.
Yeah, it seems like the wheels are threatening to come off here.
I mean, double bogey. They might be off already.
What do you do to put him back on, knowing that there's some challenging holes to score on coming up?
That's a great question.
Isn't that the entire game of golf, right?
Yeah, and I don't really have the answers for that. I try to play every shot, next shot, up, so on and so forth. But it's hard to get in that mindset where it's like, all right, every shot matters the same, blah, 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 blah. We'll actually be right back after a short. We're here at hole 14, 400-foot par 3. It's really going to be a straight shot, and you have your choice to either turn as a right-handed player and then fade out, or just fade out and leave yourself a jumper. But what I was saying is that it's really, taking each shot one at a time to try and get through your round. So when you have these bad shots, you're just moving on to the next one like nothing's happened.
Yeah.
It's a lot easier said than done.
Yeah. There's a lot of like goal setting and expectations that go into that too. Like, it feels like everything is ruined right now. Sometimes when you've gone bogey double or just aren't scoring the way you feel like you're playing. But we're also only 13 holes into a 54-hole tournament. Like, there's plenty of time to bring it back. There's plenty of time to, to throw good shots.
And there's that fade out to circle 2, so right in range for Matt Bell.
Mm-hmm.
One thing I've been trying to be more focused on is process-driven and not results-driven.
Yeah, tell us about that.
Especially for a course like this, because if I feel like I threw the right shot and I feel like I released it good at the right speed at the right time, if I feel like I did all my things right, but then it has a bad result, I'm trying not to get mad about those shots because maybe it hit a late tree or it hit a rock and rolled, whatever it may be to end in a bad spot. I feel like the things I did leading up to that were good, so I need to not be so mad, and take that into my next shot.
Yeah, for sure. And it's really easy to say. It's so much harder to do in the moment when, it feels like the course is conspiring against you and your card mates aren't getting the same kicks that you are.
Yeah, exactly. Especially at a course like this because of how, there's opportunity on every throw for that kind of thing to happen.
Sure. And whoever finishes well in this tournament is going to play good golf. They're going to get bad kicks. They're going to be the ones who are able to, respond to it and not take it personally. Come up to Matt, his birdie look. Unable to capitalize.
And I'm pretty sure we missed. Did we miss my putt?
I think.
Either way, I'm putting for par.
Yeah, this is a par. Nicely done. Since 14 has been moved back over the last couple years, it has been one of the harder holes. The drive is very demanding, and at 400 feet, playing a little bit uphill, you've got to go fast on it.
I think it's a really fun shot for the way my game plays.
How so? Like being able to throw that hyzer flip to push?
Yeah. Throwing a power hyzer flip shot, which I like to throw that shot. Mm-hmm. So and I feel like this hole, if you execute that shot well, you'll do well. Hole 15 is a 400-foot par 3 that you're going to play up this little hill here. It's going to go to flat, and then it's going to go a little bit to the left. Very tricky hole overall, and I would say I haven't really mastered this hole, so I don't really know what the best line is.
If you watch Austin Hannum throw it last year, it's apparently a forehand flex to ace, but I don't have that in my game, so I'm not sure I can speak authoritatively on it.
But this gentleman does.
Yeah? Yeah, this is definitely a very challenging par 3. At one time, it was played as a par 4 to a slightly longer position, but it was a little too easy as a 4. Now it's a viciously hard par 3.
Oh,
and that's huge. Holy cow.
Go. Look at that tree love.
Great.
Rolling back inside the circle, probably in the bullseye.
I expect we're going to see another hyzer flip shape out of you.
Nope, that's a doink. First available, actually. Is that what that one's called? I tried to hyzer flip, though. You weren't wrong.
Mike hyzer flip. I expect that's one gap right of what he actually intended. And this is pretty common for where fairway driver shots land. Not really putting range, not really 4 range. He'll probably just lay up and call it a day.
It's tough down here. That's not where you want to be off the tee.
Yeah, long way from the basket. Your disc didn't even have the decency to kick over to the short tee pad to have a true lane.
Oh, that would have been nice of it.
Matt gets up here to something playable.
Yeah, just outside the circle looks like.
You see that flag blowing a little bit. This is actually kind of rare for Iron Hill. There's because you have so much woods around you, and the Mid-Atlantic typically isn't that windy a place. This makes those like late flips or flex shots or soft runs. It makes it really hard to put it right on the basket.
Yeah, I would say there was more wind in the trees than I thought there would be, but it was also, I felt like more windy, like for the event than, what people thought it was going to be too.
Yeah, for sure. Matt Bell doing Matt Bell things. Jams his circle 2 par putt. And good heavens, we still haven't gotten to Dylan.
What a shot.
Yeah, that's clutch.
Drop in birdie on this hole it'd be so nice. All right, folks, hole 16, 600-foot par 4. The shot is a backhand that kind of fades out at the end to then hopefully you're in a good spot to throw a straight shot, I would say. I see people throwing both right and left gap, but I would say the right gap is the preferred gap.
Mm-hmm. Dylan trusting that forehand to push through the initial field goal, but kind of cut down as he's approaching the second set of trees. That'll leave him with something that has to move right to left for most of its flight. Matt full send on the drifting hyzer flip, and that's big time.
Yeah, that should be a good landing spot for him. I think, if I remember right, Mike throws actually a wide hyzer on the right side.
He goes for it. That's a pretty sneaky play.
Very sneaky play. But if you, I went and looked at it with him. If you can hit it, it works very well.
Yeah, that puts you in the line of the short tee pad. And I really like that, or an old short tee pad position. I really like that many of the short pads here don't just follow the same line. It's an actually different hole for most of it. And you're back to your hyzer flipping ways. That's a great shot to push up the right side.
Oh, Mike's going to catch that tree right in front of him, unfortunately, and he probably wasn't even looking at that.
No. That happens. You get really focused on what's ahead and, forget to see the branch right above you or the little thing right in front.
What a third, though. Oh, my goodness.
Yeah. Excellent scramble from Mikey. And Dylan trying to go with that flex forehand, but kind of just burns it into the ground. No.
Oh.
That's rough. That's one of the kicks we were talking about a little bit earlier, where the process was really good. He threw that with good power, good shape, good width, but kind of gets robbed on the result.
Dylan just putting it right inside the bullseye there, so he's got to drop in par.
Mm-hmm. You got to be impressed with his forehand approach game. He's got the power, but he's also got the touch and discipline to put those control shots up there. Long birdie bid for you. Is this another attacking shot?
Yeah. Let's see, why not?
Oh.
Because, I'll take rolls like that if, it gives me the chance to make it, because I've got confidence that I can make this comebacker.
Mm-hmm.
Did I today? No. However, you got to stick to the process.
Yeah. You get where you are by being attacking. No.
Oh my goodness. That was an ugly spit.
I can't be convinced this hole's going to let anybody in.
I agree, Matt. That was garbage.
And I've seen Matt have a spit out on this hole before. So at some point, it just feels tough when the same hole keeps getting you over and over and over. So you'll go in for your 5. Dylan scrambles for his par. Matt also going to take a 5. That's pretty wild. I wouldn't have guessed that scoring based on where the drives ended up.
Right?
Like, that's... disc golf shows you something weird every time.
All the time. There's always something new. All right, our last par 5, hole 17, 860 feet. This is uphill the entire way. This hole is an absolute battle. If you can get up to about here on your second, you can get up and down for birdie, or you can get up and down pretty easily, I would say, for par. Birdie's pretty hard on this one. I would say maybe 20% on the weekend.
Yeah, that sounds about right. You need 3 very good shots to get up there, and 6, 7, even 8 comes into play in a hurry if your drive doesn't land in a good spot.
Yeah, if you get kicked early, good luck.
This is definitely like the signature hole of Iron Hill, like classic East Coast woods monster. The course has been in the ground for over a decade now, and it's astonishing how well it's held up. Like, even as disc technology and like the touring player's skill has grown in depth, this hole and this course are still a challenge.
Get a replay from Matt here after that drive, and look at him thread this from the catch cam the entire way. What a shot. And that's a spot right there that you're wanting to attack for birdie.
Yeah, and knowing Matt, he might even be able to give an aggressive look to have a chance at an eagle. Your shot didn't miss by much, but...
just a little too much zest. You saw how it turned all the way over to the right, and then it got on the right side of one of those trees, and off into the woods we go.
What are you thinking here? Like, how did you assess your options for this shot?
I'm just trying to pitch here to get some distance, and even that I'm fine with, because that's just where I would have been if I just did like a
good shot,
jump putt out.
Okay.
But really from back there, you're playing for par, at least for me.
You have to, yeah.
Yeah. Par is best.
Looks like you leaked over to the left side of the fairway, but made good progress. And Mike, kind of a worm burner, catches a rock and scoots left on the end. Dylan had thrown a good shot, but slightly off to the left. Going big rip forehand. Little bit of a sky ball going right now. And from experience, there's not a whole lot over there that's worth playing for. Oh, Matt. He goes full hyzer. I think the attacking play there has to be an Anheuser release.
Yeah, it looked like he almost slipped a little bit too, I would say. This back nine is really showing its teeth here, as we don't have much green on our scorecards there.
Yeah, and like you were saying on the front, like, you want to have a little bit of a cushion going into these last few.
Because I'm, throwing 4 already from here?
Mm-hmm. It's about 300 out. You're stuck with a standstill forehand trying to flex. And that's not terrible. That's going to put you around circle 2.
Yeah. But I mean, with how high that green sits there, it's depending on how if it like hit and rolled or anything, it might just be a pitch up.
Yeah. It's such a neat feature to have on the course, too.
Oh, what a shot.
Dylan's zone.
He's feeling it on this back nine.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, these last like 12 holes, he really fought to get himself up from where he was. He was, 3 over at one point on the round, or maybe 2 over?
Yeah, I think 2, and made some nice drives, some nice putts to work himself to here. And that's what it takes. It's just like steady, chipping away, not really being a hero.
No. Oh, yeah, so I'm pretty short here.
And you have to throw that disc so high above the basket.
Yeah, as you saw. It's like a Spike Heiser putt there I had.
You can script your 18 tee shots, but then who knows when you're going to end up with something that has to go 30 feet in the air and only 60 feet.
Yeah, it's so wild. Mentally draining, physically draining. This course has got it all for you.
Yeah, you talk about physically draining. Have you heard of the King of the Hill event?
No. Actually, wait, I think I did. Is it 100 holes here in a day or something like that?
It's 72. It's all 4 layouts, the red, white, silver, and then gold. Par is something like 246. Play 2 rounds, take a short lunch break to shuffle cards, and then play another 36.
Wow.
It's one of my favorite events. It is sun up to sundown, and like the last round is as hard as golf ever feels.
And you play the gold last, I would hope?
It's varied, but yeah, usually.
All right, we're on to hole 18 here. 630-foot par 4. Player's going to throw a straight shot that is going to get just past this tree here and then hopefully get to one of these lanes to get up and down for par. And if you're lucky, you'll get up and down for a birdie. This hole did play as the hardest hole on the course today, playing at 0.6 over par.
And historically, that's often been the case. Wow.
What a skid. After you're hitting the ground that early, I mean, you kind of got to be okay with that.
Oh yeah, you shrug your shoulders like Dylan does and accept that you got away with one.
Yeah, go from there.
Matt back to that green driver. He's been leaning on that quite a bit the last few holes. Mike kind of having a tough time getting off the tee on these last several. And that puts him in a very difficult position, because if you're not in a good spot after 1 or 2, getting up and down is a real challenge.
I think we could say that almost on every hole here. And
I like this. Tell us about that shot, Nick.
Just the Millennium Falcon there for you. A little flip-up shot. It's fast, so it'll get down the fairway quick for you, but it's also controllable at that high speed.
Yeah, you started with a good hyzer, and then it just flat forever. Wow.
So unfortunate that, if you get in there, you literally have to pitch out sometimes.
Yeah.
You can't get any distance.
Yeah, and now he's stuck with a standstill because he's got his right foot up on a slope.
But it's like the hole hasn't gotten easier. He didn't make it any further.
That's a good shot. That's where, a perfect drive would land. Lying 3 now. So, Mike hoping to salvage something out of this and stay under par for the round.
Oh, wow.
Oh, Matt.
The footing here on the run-up really gets me because it's uphill and then it's downhill and it's side hill and then it's right side hill. So if you're trying to do a run-up, sometimes your feet get just jumbled and before you know it, you're throwing a spike hyzer instead of throwing it flat.
Right? Yeah, and the gaps don't stack up well, so you're usually having to, put a weird angle on your disc.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot of variables to contend with.
Oh, you did it.
And after birdies on 17 for Dylan and Matt, they're both having to work real hard throwing 3 from pretty far back on the fairway. So you're looking at the primary gap here, probably a little, I guess, flat to hyzer flip.
Mm-hmm.
Gunning it straight at the rocks that guard the green.
And just going to catch those last trees. I don't know if it would have made it past the rocks anyways, but I would have at least been up inside the circle.
Yeah, the rocks are about circle's edge, so it's a very playable lie. I think the best way to get there involves something that flexes around the right side of them.
Mm-hmm. I would agree.
Matt throwing 4.
And this hole's really showing you why it's the hardest hole on the course. It's long. It's basically a 90-degree angle.
Oh, Mikey.
Oh, man, I thought he was about to jam that.
Yeah, right? Good work from the catch cam operator to give the perspective.
Shout out Isaac Goldblatt.
Oh,
I don't know if it would have went in if it didn't hit that tree. But it definitely slowed it down a little bit. And, you know, we can't say it wouldn't have. Oh. And that one just really never had a chance. It was nose down out of the hand. Got to be getting it up so that way it glides a little bit.
okay. Mike going to take a 6 to finish. I'm sure that's a little bit of a bad taste in his mouth, but he's still under par at 1 down for the round. Matt for his bogey.
Yeah, and Matt going bogey, birdie, bogey. You can just see how these holes are very, very difficult.
Wide range of outcomes.
Myself tapping in for par there. Finish at 3 over.
Yeah.
Good rounds out of everybody for the most part. This course is very tough, and it's hard to put a complete round together, I would say.
Yeah, for sure. Like the ebbs and flows are going to happen. You kind of just have to keep your head on straight and, not get too up or too down even when the course invites you to. We see that MJ, Matt Bell, Kevin Kiefer, and Cody Bradshaw are going to be the lead card for round 2 on Gatekeeper Media. Thank you so much to all of our sponsors, and thank you for watching. Please like, share, support Gatekeeper in any way that you can. Nick, you looking forward to the next round?
Oh, I'm so excited for it. This is a great course, and I'm always up to see how somebody else can battle it.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. For Nick Hanson, I'm Andrew Fish.
We'll see you on the next one.